today's video, I'm going to go for a ride down this road into the mountains. It's the middle of spring down here in southern Arizona, and I'm going to make a really unique video. Everything you see in this video is filmed with the DJI Osmo Action 3 action camera. I purchased this camera with my own money a few months ago, and I've been using it ever since. DJI recently reached out to me and wanted to sponsor a video, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to test their new action camera for motorcycle travel filmmaking. Stick around and enjoy the video. I'll come back at the end and give you my thoughts on this action camera and how well suited I think it is for moto-vlogging.
You're so good at dragging yourself down. Why? Well, there ain't much time left to figure things out. Deep underneath all the laser, your doubts. There's a heart gone out of rhythm in despair. Held underwater, fine for it. Breathe in, breathe out. Hey, come alive. Breathe in, breathe out. Look at the colors around.
It seems like this camera did a really good job. It was super easy to use, fun. I think I got a lot of shots, and I was able to test out pretty much every function that I wanted to on the camera. So let's go back into the studio, have a look at the footage, and I'll give you my thoughts. I know a lot of you guys have been following my riding solo series from Arizona to British Columbia. And as you've seen in those videos, I was using a couple of GoPro cameras, and I had a lot of issues along the way. And so I was looking for a new action camera setup that would be rugged, reliable, that would work. And so far, with this DJI Osmo Action, I haven't been disappointed. I've been using action cameras for about 13 years now, and I have boxes upon boxes of action cameras and cages and mounts and cables. And this DJI camera is by far the most convenient and fun camera that I've used. So the Adventure Combo Kit that I bought, it costs $429 US, and it contains the camera, a case for the camera, 3 batteries, a 3-battery charger with a USB-C cable, an adhesive mount, and a couple of magnetic mounts. The only other things that I brought with me in the field were some mounting hardware and a couple of tripods and an accessory microphone. So there's 2 main reasons that I would use an action camera like this for motorcycle filmmaking. One is simply as an action camera, as a helmet camera, to get that point of view going down the road, show you guys what it looks like and feels like to ride a motorcycle. The other reason that I would use a camera like this is in more of a vlogging scenario when I'm off the motorcycle, and this camera works really well for both of those scenarios. So the first thing you need to do when you get your camera is to activate it and update the firmware. And that's really easy to do with the DJI Mimo app. The lenses on this camera are made with Corning Gorilla Glass, which is the same type of glass used in today's Jeep vehicles. And this lens protector here can easily and quickly be removed if, for example, I were to damage the lens. So I really like having the dual touch screens on this camera. And these screens are super bright, they're color accurate, they're detailed. The menus are really well designed, easy to read. Doesn't matter which way the camera is facing. I can interact with the menu, change settings, things like that. That's super convenient, and that's something that I've used a lot. I use both of these screens when I'm recording, whether it's on my helmet or on the front of the motorcycle. Doesn't matter which way the camera is facing, but I can access the menu from either screen and change settings. So I really like this magnetic mount that comes with the camera. Here's how it works. You've got a magnet on the bottom of the camera. You just attach it right there, just like that. And there's a couple of clips on each side that lock it in place. It's super secure, it's not going anywhere. And then when I want to remove it, I just press in on these little clips right here, and the camera pops off from the magnetic mount. And it's made my life in the field, swapping cameras out, so much easier, so much faster, and way more enjoyable. So one of the things that I really like about this camera is how quickly it turns on and starts recording. When I press the record button here, just like that, now the camera is rolling. So one of the things that I try to do when I go out and film a motorcycle video with an action camera is to get a lot of different shots. I have a mount on the front of my motorcycle near the windscreen, and I use this to get a shot of myself or a clean point of view of the road ahead. Another shot that I like to get that I feel is really kind of unique is the over-the-shoulder shot. So I've taken a video camera monopod and turned it upside down and mounted it on the back of my motorcycle with some ram mounts. And now I can adjust the height of this monopod and attach my action camera to the top of it, and that's how I get shots like this, looking over my shoulder going down the road. Another mounting solution that I like to use is this Ram Tough Claw. I can easily remove it and reposition it or put it pretty much anywhere on any part of the frame of my bike. And then I attach my action camera to a selfie stick, and now I have this sort of arm that I can position in different angles and get a wide variety of shots. Sometimes I like to have my cell phone mounted on my handlebar, and when I have the DJI Mimo app connected to the action camera, I can see what the camera sees. And I can change settings, and I can start and stop my recordings while I'm going down the road. And unlike the GoPro, the DJI Mimo app will show what's being recorded while it's being recorded. So there's 3 different fields of view from this camera. The standard field of view is equivalent to a 15mm lens. The wide angle field of view is equivalent to an 11mm lens, and the super wide 155 degree view is equivalent to a 10mm lens. The super wide view on this camera is the largest, widest view of all of the action cameras, and it's super immersive. It just includes so much of the environment around me when I'm riding down the road. I set this shot up to test the minimum focus distance of the camera, which is advertised as 30 centimeters. And you can see how the focus rolls off from the point of the rock wall here closest to the camera to where I appear and my hands appear in the background. The DJI Osmo Action 3 has 4 different stabilization modes. It's got Rock Steady Plus, Horizon Balancing, and Horizon Steady. You can record in Rock Steady and Rock Steady Plus in 4K up to 120 frames per second. The Horizon Balance feature will correct a tilt in the camera up to 45 degrees. So as long as you don't go more than 45 degrees, your horizon will stay completely level. The Horizon Steady function will correct a 360 degree rotation of the camera. So it doesn't really matter which way I'm turning the camera because it's keeping the horizon completely steady. I can even go completely upside down here and the camera still looks like it's right side up. That's pretty cool. And of course this camera has some different modes where you can record things like slow motion or time lapse or hyperlapse, and of course take regular photos. I tested out the hyperlapse on this camera briefly so that you guys can see what the hyperlapse function on this camera looks like. Let's talk about the video quality that comes out of this camera. It can create 4K 120 frames per second video at 10-bit, D-Cine-alike, or you can use their standard picture profile. And a lot of times that's all I use. It requires less color grading and it looks pretty great just straight out of the camera. I wanted to test out the dynamic range, see how it could do in an environment that had some pretty extreme lighting conditions. And so I went inside of this cave and I set up some different shots so that I could see how the camera would perform. And I was really impressed. Look at this shot. You can see the details of my face and the environment in the very bright light, while at the same time, it does a pretty good job showing some of the details in the shadow areas. This is a pretty extreme lighting scenario, and I thought that it did really well. One of the things that I wanted to do at the campsite was to be able to get some shots of myself setting up camp and cooking and preparing my food. And so that's why I used a chest mount. This is a GoPro chest mount, and you just basically put it on like this and attach it right here, and I have a hands-free ability to shoot the world around me, which is really cool. This chest mount is really versatile. It's useful in a lot of different scenarios, from recording your campsite to recording your daily interactions or gas stops or grocery stores. Anything when you want to have your hands free, put your camera in a chest mount like this, and it just gives you a different immersive point of view. Here's a shot where the camera was in the chest mount and I had it in the super wide field of view. And you can see in this shot that it really elongates my arms. They look much longer than they are in real life. And so I switched over to the standard field of view to record the rest of the scenes because I thought that looked a little more natural. This camera has a bigger sensor than the GoPro, so that means that it will perform a little bit better when the light goes down. Of course, action cameras aren't really known for being at their peak performance in less than stellar lighting conditions, so you really primarily want to stick to using this camera when it's bright and sunny outside. But I did want to push the limits of it a little bit and see how it would perform as the sun started to go down. So when it comes to audio, this camera has built-in microphones in a few different spots around it, and using the menus you can tell the camera whether to focus on the front microphones or the rear microphones. I'm not going to get too much into audio, but I will say that you can quickly and easily attach a USB-C microphone to this camera. So for example, I could have a lavalier mic inside of my helmet, or if I'm walking and talking with the camera, I could attach a USB-C microphone with a windscreen. It does have these options to get external microphones into the camera. And one of the things that I like is that there's a menu setting in here where you can adjust the input gain of the audio level down to -12 dB. So I want to talk about the batteries for just a second because that's one of the most impressive things about this camera. I had two cameras in the field for about 9 hours of filming. And during that time, I recorded 3 hours of footage and used 2.5 batteries. So I would say the battery life is pretty good. And I really like this battery charger here. I think it's so well designed and innovative. You can see at a glance when you open it which ones of your batteries are fully charged, which ones aren't charged. The batteries charge up pretty quickly. It only takes about 20 minutes to charge a battery back up to 80%. And it's got the USB port here, which allows you to charge other things off of this case. So for example, I could charge my cell phone from this battery pack. So what's my conclusion with this camera? Well, like I said, the first reason that I got this camera was because I was tired of the reliability issues that I had with my GoPro. I wanted a camera that just worked. I really like how quickly it starts up and starts recording when I press the record button. I like the dual touch screens. The menus and the screens are easy to see, easy to use. I love the battery life with this camera and the battery charger itself. I like how easy it is to just plug in a USB-C microphone into the side of the camera. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with this camera. Is it going to replace a higher quality camera like my Fujifilm mirrorless camera. No, it certainly won't do that, but it does what I want it to do, and it's convenient. So if you're the kind of person that wants to go out and record your motorcycle adventures, you can do a lot with just one action camera. I hope you found this video entertaining and useful, and that it inspires you to go out and ride and record and share your own motorcycle travel adventures. Thanks a lot, you guys, for watching this video. Thanks a lot to DJI for sponsoring me. Go out and ride, have some fun, record some of your own adventures, and I'll see you down the road.